Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the L.O.V. is the message Legacy Hour chat. What a great day it is today. I'm going to call it Life is a Party. Today, life is a party. I am so privileged, I'm so honored to have this guest today with us. We all should take a listen and learn a little bit about it because this is what it's all about. Before I begin, I would just want to remind everybody that the LOV is the message Legacy Hour chat was created to get to know each other and to share with our friends and followers stories that you won't find in books, the relationships and history that we have with each other, and those times that we share from the early days, from the inception of our dance music culture. These are stories among friends, and we invite you to listen and enjoy what these iconic, influential individuals have to say. I am just thrilled, ladies and gentlemen, because today the Legends of Vinyl welcomes, and it's a fascinating and learning experience for in history. And we welcome an American record producer, composer, and arranger. Michael Zager is with us today. Yes, you heard it right, Michael Zager. And you're going to find it fascinating because there's so much to talk about in this little hour that we have. But we're going to try to cover so many things that your mind is going to be blown away to find out about so many things that he's going to bring to the table. What I'd like to just read you a little bit about. Michael Zager is celebrating 15 years as Florida Atlantic University's Dorothy F. Schmidt College Eminent Scholar in the Performing Arts and Director of the FAU Commercial Music Program. Professor Zager is the recipient of 3 Fulbright Specialist grants from the United States Department of State and 5 visiting professor grants. He is the recipient of 15 gold and platinum records and has served on the Board of Governors for the Florida chapter of the Recording Academy Grammy Awards. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree for the University of Miami and graduated from the New School University Mannes College of Music, where he majored in composition. Professor Zager served on the faculty of Mannes College of Music prior to joining Florida Atlantic University's faculty. Mrs. Zager studied theater music under the tutelage of the legendary Stephen Sondheim, as well as orchestration, jazz arranging and composition at the Manhattan School of Music, and conducting at the Juilliard School of Music. Mrs. Zager has produced, composed, and or arranged original music in a wide range of musical idioms, including commercials, albums, network television, and source of theme music for major motion pictures. He has produced Grammy Award winning artists including Whitney Houston, Cissy Houston, Peebo Bryson, Luther Vandross, Denise Williams, Jennifer Holliday, Joe Williams, Arturo Sandoval, Herb Alpert, Olatunji, and the Spinners. Some of Mrs. Zager's original scores and original studio recordings of Whitney Houston, the Spinners, and the Michael Zager Band reside in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum in Cleveland, Ohio. Hello, we're talking about serious accomplishments. So much, so wonderful. But would like to do this, I would like to remind everybody that in 2018, the Legends of Vinyl Hall of Fame invited Mrs. Zager to New York to welcome our humble Hall of Fame award. And I would like to invite you to please take a look at, well, if I can get there, the video that we presented to Mr. Zager before he went on the stage. Take a look at it.
Let's All Chant, the Michael Zager Band's #1 Billboard disco chart single, which he produced, arranged, and co-wrote, sold approximately 5 million copies worldwide. The list goes on with Love Express and Music Fever, both #1 on the Billboard disco chart. He produced and arranged Working My Way Back to You, Forgive Me Girl by the Spinners, which reached #2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was RIAA certified gold. He also composed Forgive Me Girl. Cupid, I've Loved You for a Long Time, also by the Spinners, was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best R&B Vocal, reached #4 on the Billboard Hot 100, and was RIAA certified gold. He also composed I've Loved You for a Long Time. Yesterday Once More, Nothing Remains the Same by the Spinners. He also composed Nothing Remains the Same. Do It With Feeling, the Michael Zager Band featuring Peebo Bryson, which he also co-wrote. Think It Over by Jennifer Holliday, #1 dance club songs, which he also co-wrote. Life's a Party, the Michael Zager Band, Whitney Houston's first solo recording, he also composed. And let's not forget that he participated in the success of the release of D.C. LaRue's Cathedrals album on Pyramid Records. These are just a few of many. Congratulations, Michael Zager. Welcome to the Legends of Vinyl Artists Hall of Fame.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, that's some history over there, and I'd like to thank him for being so wonderful to come to see us on that day. Please help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zager to the screen. Michael, how are you, my friend? How you doing? Well, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us and giving us your time. I know your time is precious, but we're all in the same boat with this situation we have here. I know you're doing okay. The family doing good.
We're doing okay. We've been basically in self-isolation since the middle of March.
Yes.
Being very careful.
Absolutely, we have to be very, very careful. We have to just wear our masks. Be alert and all of that, but we have to do the best that we can for the moment, But I am very happy. Like I say, I have so many paperwork that I read from you. I mean, this is like such a thrill for me. I'm like a little kid. Michael, I just want to show you, if you don't mind, I have here a collection of your work. A collection of your work, and this is an incredible. It's a matter of fact, I even have the 12-inch of Let's All Chant there, 12-inch on 45 RPM, and obviously it's Out of the Jackets right there, and there are so many other, and I call it Life's a Party. Life's a Party. That this is we're gonna go into that, and there are so many other 12 inches that I have from you. Don't Sneak Up on Me, Freak, You Don't Know a Good Thing. Let's see what else. Music Fever. Do It With Feeling. My God, I mean, there's so much more in here, but I don't want to take all day long. This is amazing. Michael, do me a favor. I ask everybody to take us back to those early days as we were getting things together, because like the 60s were so amazing in every way, shape, and form, and some of us survived it. But give us a little history about the 60s as you were coming in.
Well, you want to know how I started?
Yes, please.
Well, first of all, I thought I loved music from the time I was a very young child, especially jazz. I was kind of a jazz freak and really into it. Of course, studying classical piano and then jazz piano, never expecting to be a musician because I thought it was insane to try to make a living in the music business.
Okay.
And actually didn't study, although I played many instruments in high school and then played in college. I didn't decide to become a composer and arranger until I was in the Army. I was in the Army band. And that's
Wow.
how I really started to compose.
What
When I
instrument?
got out of the Army, my closest friend that I grew up with, his name was Aaron Shepard, who unfortunately passed away. We wanted to write for the musical theater, and I contacted Stephen Sondheim, and he tutored us for about 3 years.
Wow.
And unfortunately, the show that we were working on, somebody else did it. And Aaron said to me, well, let's form a band to try to get into the music business. We didn't have any contacts at all, and I said, okay, as long as we have jazz in it. And we formed a jazz rock band called 10 Wheel Drive and toured for 6 years.
Wow. Wow. What year was this?
That was in 1968 was our first album.
Wow. That's amazing. You know, I don't have that album. I have to find that album. I need
We
to
had
have it
4 albums. We were on Polydor,
on Polydor.
which is now Universal.
And it was rock and roll, right?
It was jazz rock.
Jazz rock. I love it.
It's kind of like a Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but there's
Sweet.
different twists to it.
Sweet. I love it. I can't wait to listen to that.
We
Absolutely.
toured mainly with Sly and the Family Stone, Richie Havens, Three Dog Night, mainly with Sly and the Family Stone, which to this day I say is the best live act I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Oh, what an awesome times. I do remember them. I had the privilege to be in the audience with, obviously, with Sly and the Family Stone, and I saw pretty much the 60s act. I love it. So, and then all of a sudden you became a composer, right? You went from there into arranging.
Yeah, I really wanted to be a theater composer, and the only reason I never went back was, fortunately, Ten Wheel Drive became popular, so I never went back to theater writing, although I have produced music for Broadway.
And you were touring. You were touring.
Yeah, we toured for 6 years.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I totally agree with that. You were young and, you know, the whole 9 yards. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But 6 years is a long time to tour and all of that. Yeah. But, you know, you survived it. That is a wonderful thing.
We survived, and thank goodness for my wife, but she was encouraging. And when we got married, I wasn't in the music business trying to get into it, and she encouraged me to.
So you got
keep
married
going.
back in the 70s?
This was in the 60s.
Oh, you got married in the 60s.
Yeah, we got married. I was married when I went into the music business. When we got married, I wasn't in the music business. I was trying to get in.
Was
Good
she?
thing being naive because it was so difficult, and I had no idea, which was a good thing. So I just kept trying with my partner.
Right. And your partner at that time was obviously Jerry.
No, this is before Jerry Love.
This is before Jerry Love.
His name was Aaron Shepard. He passed away, and
Okay.
then it was Aaron Shepard and me and our lead singer Jenya Raven. That was the nucleus of Ten Wheel Drive.
Oh, I
This
see.
is Jerry and I became Jerry Love, my deceased partner, and I were partners for 40 years, and we formed the partnership in 1975.
Right. So, so he went with you throughout this whole 70s, incredible, how can I say it, career, because, I mean, you opened doors for so many people, my God. You have created an incredible amount of body work. Um, I wanted to just kind of jump right now into something that is very dear to a lot of people, or a lot of people need to know. Um, you have worked with Whitney Houston, and when she was 14 years old, and
Yes.
Cissy Houston as well, her mother. How did it all come to be? How? Because I know that she even did commercials for you after she became very, very famous. She
Yes,
did
yes.
commercials for you.
Well, the way it happened was I was doing Sissy's record, and hopefully you remember Think It Over.
Ah, I
Uh,
love that song. Absolutely.
which was a big hit.
Hmm.
And we were doing an album, and the night before we were doing background vocals, Sissy called me up about 6 or 7 o'clock at night that one of the background singers was sick and couldn't come to the studio. So I said to her, um, well, who do you want to use? Because we were using the best studio singers in New York.
Right.
And I said, who do you want to use? She said, I'm going to bring my daughter. And in those days, we used to call Whitney Nippy. I knew her as Whitney. She said, I said, well, how old is your daughter? And she said, 14. And I almost fell on the floor. I said, you're kidding,
How
aren't
can
you?
it be? 14, yeah.
She said, no. She said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So the next day, the session was about 4 o'clock because we had to wait for Nippy to get out of school. And she had a little school uniform. Even though she was a Baptist, I think she went to a Catholic school because
Yeah.
she had a white top, and I remember the day clear as a bell, and a little blue skirt. And she came in, and we went to the piano, and I had all the parts written out. And I taught. We had 3 singers. It was Sissy, Nippy, and one other singer. And she learned it like that. I mean, I just couldn't believe it.
When you heard
So,
her voice, it was it like because sound like she didn't need to much, like she was immediately tune in to whatever you know you told her to do,
yeah,
right?
she sounded like an adult because she had,
Wow.
at the time I didn't realize she was singing in Sissy's choir in the New Hope Baptist Church in Newark, New
Wow.
Jersey. So she had been singing from the time she was a kid. And I'd never heard anything like it at that age.
Wow.
My granddaughter's kind of like that.
Wow. Yeah.
She's 50. And so I started using her on sessions, and then after Let's All Chant, I said to Sissy, I have a song that I wrote called Life's a Party. I'd like Whitney to sing the lead on it. And
Wow.
he said, well, if Whitney wants to do it, it's okay. So Nippy said, okay. And that was her very first solo recording.
Wow. That's some history right there. And you have so much going on in those days at the same time. But my goodness. Think It Over definitely was also, to this day, Think It Over is still being played. I mean, I play it, constantly. So, how many recordings do you do with Whitney Houston?
Well, I only did that one solo recording, but all through high school, and then up to the time she became a star, she kept uh, doing background vocals with me. Jerry and I tried to sign her to a contract, but Sissy wanted her to get an education, didn't want her to be signed, and of course the rest is history. Even when she became a star, she was doing some background vocals for me when I was recording Sissy. But we tried for years to sign her, and then of course Clive Davis signed her, and she became a huge star.
So you kept the friendship, right? You kept that relationship going, even though, until
Oh,
late, until her, later days.
yes, we kept. She was a wonderful person, and we kept a relationship all those years because I worked with her mother for so many years,
Yeah.
So I was invited to all the parties. I went to her wedding. She used to
Right.
have parties, people, and she would invite us. It was a wonderful time.
What a loss! It's definitely one of the shocking news for the whole world. Never
It was
forget.
absolutely shocking because I never, as well as I knew her, never ever saw that side of her. She was very quiet when she was young.
Yeah.
She was a clone of her mother, who was the great Sissy Houston.
Yeah.
Every note that came out of her mouth was from her mother, and she was very sweet and nice, always nice, nice to my children.
Yeah. What a style! An
Oh,
incredible
tragic.
style and class act every way because of her foundation, like you say, from Sissy Houston. And I never forget when she would stand in the stadium. She went stand Spangled Banner.
Yeah,
That was I bought the cause the CD. I think it was in those days already. I had to. I mean, you have to have that. You have to have that. I still
exactly.
do. As a matter of fact, I kept that as one of my memories because a voice like that is priceless, and it only comes in a rarely. And you made it happen. You also were part of that history.
Well, it was a wonderful time and a horrible tragedy.
Yeah, yeah. But you have so many other. I'm curious because you have worked with Luther Vandross and obviously Dennis Williams, Jennifer Holliday, and Herb Alber, Arturo Sandoval, and all these people are so incredible because I have them all here. I know I have each one of these people. I own records from these people, and I love them, each one of them, including Olatunji. What's the work with Olatunji, Michael?
Well, we did this Kwanzaa album, and I forgot how I met him, but he was wonderful to work with.
Ooh,
Really nice guy, incredible musician.
right.
Um, Somebody introduced me to him, and I don't remember. It was so long ago. I can't remember how we met,
Yeah.
but he was a wonderful person.
Well, he's
Uh,
one of the
you
founders.
mentioned Jennifer. You mentioned Jennifer Holliday. We had a #1 hit with her with "Think It Over."
Think it over.
Not that long ago.
Right. Right.
We redid the song with Jennifer. What a voice she has.
Exactly right. You're absolutely right. But
And
Olatunji was.
Freak, you mentioned Freak before. That was Luther Vandross.
Oh my, what a voice! Another incredible powerhouse uh, that is still to this day Luther forever be in our turntables and in our
Well,
hearts.
I knew Luther when he was singing jingles. That's how I met him. They used to hire him as a background singer for years,
Yeah.
and he couldn't get a deal. I remember when he was making demos, nobody would sign him.
Oh
Of
boy.
course, again, the rest is history. He became one of the great voices of all time.
Sure it was. It sure was. Absolutely. And because most of these people are so incredible. But you work with some of the architects, as I call them, architects of the culture, the music, of the dance music culture. Talking about from the Philadelphia time, from the Philly sound as well. And obviously, the spinners are up there. I mean, when we're talking about the spinners, you're talking about, so many classics. And you had one of my favorite records was Working My Way Back to You, Cupid, and all of that. That was John Edwards, right? Singing with him.
Yes, he was the lead singer. That was one of my dream acts. I was a huge Spinners fan. I used to play the Tom Bell record till I would have to replace the vinyl. I was such a big fan. And when we were asked to produce them, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, because it was one of my favorite acts.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a story about Cupid. uh, which became a huge hit. We were fortunate to get a Grammy nomination. Uh, that was the only time of all the records that I produced. But when John Edwards did the vocal in the studio, it was the only time I knew I had a hit. And
Oh,
John
wow.
sang at the end of that record, he goes way up.
Yeah.
And John looks through the glass and he said to me, "Was that all right? You want me to do it again?" And I couldn't talk. I was speechless. I don't know whether he's on this, if he's listening now, but I was
Right.
speechless. I actually couldn't talk. And I got to feel, I think we did, he said, "Well, let's do one more." I think we did one more, but I think the take that,
But you knew
became
that that was a
the,
take.
that was the take, that was the lead vocal was I think the first take that we did. It was just,
Right,
I mean,
right.
the whole group was just amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
together.
actually, spinners are in my heart for many reasons. I even met my wife when that song was one of their songs were playing, but that's um, that's another story. But yes, you tell me a little bit more about those wonderful moments that you had with the spinners. What because I know
Well,
that it's amazing that it went to number two, and I told you that before. That record should have gone to number one.
yeah, I went to one in the UK.
Right.
Brick in the Wall, I think, held us back. It was
Is
disappointing.
that
In
right?
fact,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I think that was the record, if I'm right. I'm not 100% sure. I think you have to look it up.
Wow, wow,
But
wow. Oh, Michael, you've been here for how long in Florida?
since 2002,
2002.
yes,
And
I came to work at Florida Atlantic University. I
right.
started the commercial music program
But
for the Department of Music.
you are you wait a minute. You were I have those notes in here somewhere. You
I was a
are
manager before that, part-time in New York,
right
and
in
then
correct,
I
okay.
came full-time to Florida to start the commercial music program in the Department of Music at FAU.
So tell us a little bit about FAU. What's up with that?
It's a wonderful university. It's big. It's about 30,000 students. We have a great Department of Music, and about half of our students are commercial music majors, and they learn producing, technology, and the business of music. And we have some wonderful graduates who are doing great things.
Right.
It's been a phenomenal experience, and of course, I keep producing as many recordings as I possibly can. That's part of my job to stay active. So
Right.
it's been a wonderful move for me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What you're doing incredible. What is the future for you? Still continue this because you're doing now every day you do your classes through the internet to
Yes, right now with the pandemic, in the middle of March, we went online. So we're doing our classes online and just about everything else. And in the fall, I'll be online and just very few classes will be face to face.
how is that working for you, Michael? I mean, is that I know that is not really what you're looking for, right?
It's better to be face to face, but if you have synchronous classes where the students can talk to you and you can ask probing questions, then it works pretty well. My students weren't complaining, but I
Right.
think it depends on the class. It
I see.
depends on the type of class. Of course, it's difficult for ensemble.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's very difficult.
That's fantastic, Michael. That's fantastic.
But I'm also very busy. I write textbooks as well, and I'm writing the third edition of my music production textbook, and I've written textbooks on writing music for commercials. So I'm busy with my research, writing, as well as producing albums, and I produce 1 to 2 albums a year now.
Wow. I know that you just had you announced that what is it a book? What did you had coming up or
Well,
something?
I'm I'm working on the third edition of my music production book.
Okay.
But I just had an album come out that I'm very proud of, which is basically it's a classical album. It was done in Germany by the Kaliningrad Symphony Orchestra. They're from Russia,
Right.
and choir from Vilnius, and a choir which is Lithuania, and a choir from Germany, and it was to celebrate the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp. It's about a two and a half hour project, video and album, and it was just released. So I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely.
It stand against hate.
Absolutely. And congratulations, Michael. Congratulations is an awesome thing to do. Absolutely fantastic. You know, there's so many things that, I would love to have the opportunity to come and see you one of these days after this whole pandemic, or even Al Magliano, our friend Al Magliano, is supposed to be coming up or down to Florida, and we're supposed to have just a couple of days together. But we wanted to come and, we'll give you a call and we'll have lunch. I hope.
I have a good Let's All Chance story for you.
Talk to me.
Because people always ask me about, how do you ever come up with an idea like that? And
Okay.
My partner Jerry Love used to hang out at the clubs all the time, and I had two children, and I couldn't stay out late. Every night he was out at the club. He's the one that got me into disco. He was into it way
Is that
before.
right?
And so he came back one day and he said, at the clubs, all the dancers are going, ooh, ooh, write a song like that.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Right.
And I said, are you joking me? You actually want me to write a song with that sound in it? He said, yeah, I'm telling you, they're going to like it. So I said, well, if this isn't a hit, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, yeah.
So Alvin Fields and I sat down to write this song. And I decided when I went to do the arrangement that I had to take it up a notch. So I hired a piccolo trumpet player from the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra, and a clarinet player, I think, from the New York Philharmonic. And I wrote that kind of fugal section in the sound so that I wouldn't feel upset that I was making a record with all those sounds.
Oh,
And
wow.
of course, I was really wrong because the record ended up being a worldwide hit, selling 5 million copies.
That's
So I
right.
still thank my deceased partner for coming up with that idea.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
we reviewed it at the dumbest time of the year. He said, let's go to Studio 54 and we'll play it there at Christmas time. Nobody releases a record at Christmas unless you're a star. And the record clicked immediately because nobody was stupid enough to do what we did. And we were very fortunate. I owe that to Jerry Love.
It was fantastic. So the record, you broke the record at Studio 54. That's what it broke?
Yep.
Studio. Do you remember the DJ who actually played that for you?
No, I can't. I don't remember.
That was Richie Kaiser, I'm sure. Richie Kaiser. That's
Very
the
well could have been.
the original DJ, rest his soul. He was an innovator, a wonderful disc jockey. He was the one who actually took the. We got on the record pool at 45 with Gloria Gaynor's "I Will Survive" on the side, one side, and the other side was Most of All. I think it was Most of All. And he flipped the record because they were pushing side A. And I Will Survive, starting with the piano, it was like nobody wanted to cut the night like that. It was a little dramatic. So Richie took the record, flipped it, and it broke the night. It actually was, everybody was hype, playing high energy, and all of a sudden it just went into and broke the night into it. and people just went berserk. People love that, you know.
No,
But
we had a
that was
similar
Richie,
thing.
I'm sure.
We had a similar thing happen with our first record, which was the Michael Zager Moon Band. It was featuring Peebo Bryson. It was before he ever made an album. And that was a B-side. We just put that together in the studio. I had this big orchestral piece. That was the A-side. It was for Bang Records.
Right.
And the Fluid Feeling became a big R&B hit. But it was never intended to be anything more than to fill the B-side of the record. We created it right
Right.
in the studio.
Yeah, I can understand that, sure. I mean, you have some records in here that I wanted to ask you about. And obviously, you were BANG record label.
Right, Bang.
Do It With Feeling is on one side.
That's it.
And Do It With Feeling, I mean, 1978. Or no, 1975.
75. Yeah.
Right, 1975. That song. So how did because we got this on the record pool, we got this record, and you know I remember this record playing this record, and then you came up with on the same. Well, no, this is Private Stock, with Music Fever, and Freak in the other side. That's 1978.
Music Fever was another big hit. We were
Right.
very fortunate with that. We had a double-sided hit with Let's All Chant. So that was.
That was
we
fr-
never expected any. I mean, we just thought that they'd be good for the clubs. We never thought anything much would happen with them.
fabulous,
Other than
fabulous.
the
And
clubs.
in 1980, you came up with. Now you're in Colombia. Don't Sneak on Me.
Yeah, that's Luther Vandross.
So
I'm not Freak. That's Don't Sneak on Me. I was wrong before. That's Luther.
Produced by Jerry Love, produced by Jerry Love,
No,
uh,
I produced it.
Michael
Jerry was the
Sager
executive
for
producer.
Michael Sager Productions. You're right.
Right.
This is 1980, and we're still hanging in there. Now you're on Columbia Records.
That's our private stock sold out to Columbia. And
I see.
Columbia signed Sissy Houston and me.
Okay, so then you continue with You Don't Know a Good Thing. That's 1978. We're going backwards. 1978. You Don't Know a Good Thing. And it's
Now,
still not over.
we recorded that in London. I did a lot of work at Trident Studios where Cerrone recorded
Yeah.
and some other people.
Right, this is also from the Lives of Party album, right?
Yes.
The one I was Still Not Over is the song that
Yeah.
is Still
That
Not
was,
Over.
that was recorded in London as well.
Wow, yeah. You see, I have to play all of these records because there are a lot of DJs out there that they just don't have these records, and they need to learn that all of this music meant so much to all of us, and they should be played. Because I always say the same thing, and I will repeat it: music has no expiration date. Am I right there, Michael?
I agree with you there.
Because there's a lot of people, oh, if it's not released last month or this month, I'm not going to play it. Wait a minute. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. You got to play it. I mean, all of this music here was meant to be played. You know, so that's a great thing, my friend. That's a great thing. I am look.
One thing that I'd like to say is that none of these records that were made for dancing would have been possible without the DJs. I mean, they made the hits.
I thank you for that. Thank
And
you, Michael, for that
so many
acknowledgement.
wonderful DJs. You didn't mention the Afro-Cuban band.
I got to tell you one thing. I'm sorry about that, but that's 1975, I bet you,
That's
right?
right. That
And
was our
the
first
first
album.
batch of records we got, the product, we call it the product. We got the Afro Cuban band, and that record still to this day is playable. It's on my collection, on the section that it was, from 1975, and what a great time it was, Michael. Tell me a little bit about that because it means a lot to us.
Well, hey, Jerry and I knew Jerry because Jerry was the head of A&R in New York for A&M Records, and I used to bring up uh, demos to try to get deals on A&M. That's how we met, and we became very good personal friends. And then when we decided to form a partnership, as I mentioned before, Jerry got me into disco. So Jerry said, let's do an album and we'll dedicate it to the DJs. And of course, on the back of the cover, picture of the most prominent DJs at that time were put on the back of the cover because we wanted them to break the record.
Yes.
So we constructed a sound with a big orchestra with some of the best players in the world. And thank goodness we got lucky. It was Roulette Records. Morris Levy gave us our first deal. And the record broke, and as a result of that, we were able to sustain our business.
Right. That's, you remember, obviously, in Roulette Records, our good friend Roy B. from Roulette Records, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. He's one of the first record promoters I ever met, if not the first one, who is actually credited to be the first record promoter to actually step out of his office and to come and visit the DJ at the clubs.
Right.
And to bring us the product, as we called it. And we were like, whoa, there's a, because we used to go to record labels to pick up records from them. But he decided to do it. I have to give him credit for that. Very smart man. To this day, we're very good friends. As a matter of fact, he may be listening right now. He's very shy nowadays.
So whenever Jerry and I put out a record, Jerry would take me around to the clubs to meet all the DJs, and we'd go up to the booth. It was so much fun.
What was your favorite club back in the day? Do you remember any?
Well, we used to hang out. Well, we went to the garage.
Did you? Wonderful.
Mostly Studio 54.
Okay.
Name some that we went to all the clubs.
Xenon, New York,
Xenon.
all of those mainstream clubs, basically. Yeah, they were mainstream. They were not underground anymore. They're mainstream.
The most wonderful thing about that time was being able to record big orchestras, which of course is almost impossible for financial reasons today. And as I know you're doing it, I saw part of the trailer to the documentary for Vince Fontana, and all those big orchestral sounds with these amazing singers that the times just can't be duplicated.
Did you meet Vince Montana at one point?
No, I never met him, but
Yeah.
I did I did a lot of records at Sigma Sound in New York, never in Philly.
Right, Sigma Sound, right? No longer there anymore. It's a shame that's Sigma Sound is no longer where it was. It's a shame. A lot of the area of Philadelphia is gone. They should have kept that as a. They should have kept that, as for people to go there and learn.
I agree with you. Sigma Sound in New York was 2 floors below our office, which is now, our office became David Letterman's office, and now I guess it's called theirs. But Sigma Sound was 2 floors below, so we started doing a lot of work there and in Media Sound on 57th Street. And it was just, I'll tell you a great spinner story with Luther Vandross. We were recording at Media Sound, and we used to put up a sign, recording, please don't come in.
Right.
So this fellow walks in the room, very thin, and I said, excuse me, can I help you? And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, don't you recognize me? I said, no. And it was Luther Vandross. And his weight used to go up 150 pounds and then down 150 pounds. And I didn't know who it was. And
No
he came
kidding.
in to say hello to the spinner. He was another wonderful guy.
I'm sorry. Which one is that? Who's that?
Luther Vandross.
Oh! I thought you were talking about. So yeah, no, Luther, absolutely. He went. You're right. He was very, very heavy. All of a sudden, he just went down.
I didn't know who it was when he came in.
What a life change! Yeah, an incredible, a wonderful thing to do. Wonderful thing. Now the other friends, our friend that you mentioned, and I know him very, very well, David LaRue, who happens to be a great artist, according to you, a graphic or drawing
He is.
artist.
He's
I
amazing.
never knew that. I
David designed one of the 10-wheel drive album covers called Peculiar Friends. That's how I knew him.
yeah.
And then I ended up playing on one of his albums.
So what happened? Why is David always kept that as a secret? Never told me that.
I
I
know his David.
I
David
have
on
to I have
today.
to
You have to ask him.
yeah, I know. But you were part of that album, Cathedrals.
That's right.
You know, how did that come to be? You were part of that. You
Well,
had you were playing an instrument there.
my partner from 10-wheel drive, after the band broke up, he produced David, and he asked me if I would play on it, and I did. I played keyboards on some of the cuts.
Sweet. Yeah, that was a great album for David. And then
Great.
he went on great things with the T dance and let them dance and so on and so forth. I mean, so many records he came up with. You know, um, I always loved David. He's a great, talented man, a good friend, and he's going to be part of our radio coming soon. What do you think about our Legends of Vinyl Hall of Fame? Are we doing the right thing there, Michael?
Well, I think it's wonderful. It's a great honor to be inducted into the Legends of Vinyl Hall of Fame. We had a great time at the event. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess this year you can't do it because of the pandemic.
I have a lot of people lined up, which Love Unlimited, Unlimited Touch will be there with us. Just so many people that we're trying to Candy Staten. We have so many people. I can't believe it. And the icon of the year is going to be a good friend, Earl Young. He accepted the icon
Wow,
of the year.
wonderful.
Yeah, from the
Very cool.
Trumps. And so we all waiting for 2021. Gene Carn will be with us as well, Michael.
That's
Did you ever work with Gene Carn?
No,
No.
I
So
didn't.
great lady, great, fantastic lady, you know. So we do have already a lineup of people, and I've been calling each one of them to explain and to give them the reason why we're not going to do this. So we postponed the September to 2021. It wouldn't be the right thing for us to do. You
No.
know, to just
Okay.
get a whole bunch of people together and move them from one city to another city, and it would not be the right thing to do. You know, we need to be 100% confident that we can actually, mingle with each other. And you know, people like to hug and kiss and whatever in these events. But I'm very proud of what I created, Michael. I assure you, you are you are one of our, one of the artists that I'm so proud of about having been able to bring forward. So thank you so much, Michael. I'm going to just go back to a couple of things that you yourself. Let's all chant. #1 Billboard disco chart and sold 5 million copies worldwide. And you also co-wrote it. Love Express, #1 Billboard disco chart, and you also co-wrote it. Music Fever, #1 Billboard disco chart, and you also co-wrote it. Working My Way Back to You, Forgive Me Girl by the Spinners. #2 Billboard Hot 100, RIAA Certified Gold, also composed Forgive Me Girl. Fantastic. Cupid, I Love You for a Long Time by the Spinners, nominated for a Grammy Award for the Best R&B Vocal. #4 Billboard Hot 100. Wow, it's unbelievable. I Love You for a Long Time. That's another cut there. Then you got Yesterday Once More, Nothing Remains the Same by the Spinners. Also, there's nothing remains the same. Do it with feeling. The Michael Zager Band featured People Bryson. You also co-wrote that. Whitney Houston, Think It Over. Billboard Hot Dance Club, number 5. You also co-wrote that. Think It Over by Jennifer Holliday, number 1 dance club, also co-wrote. Life's a Party, Michael Zager Band, Whitney Houston's first solo recording, also composed. What's your name? What's your number? Now, this is something. What's Andrea True Connection?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that was the follow-up to More, More, More. That was quite an experience with Andrea.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But
I can only imagine. I mean, the yes, more, and that she worked. How can I say? She has a little bit of history in the background.
yeah,
So she was good to work with. She was very difficult. So how was
she was a little. We got along fine. She was a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
In the studio, and I had to get a bit tough, but we ironed it all out.
Why do you have to get tough? Why? What she wasn't able? What?
Well, she from what I can remember, she wasn't too nice to the engineer who at that time was producing the biggest. I mean, he was engineering the biggest artist in the world.
The engineers. You have to be nice to the engineers.
So I don't put up with that kind of stuff in the studio.
Right.
But once that was settled, we really had a lot of fun, and she was nice. We kept in touch.
Yeah.
And, I like that record. I just listened to it last week. I haven't heard it in a long time.
Great song, number 9 on the U.S. club chart. I mean, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I told her. I told her that I thought that the song was so good and the track was really pumping. And I said, if you don't stop this behavior, I'm going to go and get another singer. I could put anybody on this track and it's gonna make it. And that's when she calmed down. And I really meant it too. I would have gotten another singer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Why not?
She calmed down and she was fine. She was nice.
Let's see. Right then you have Right Before My Eyes by Patty Day. Bang Bang by Noe Matos. I never heard that Bang Bang.
Yeah, we had a hit with that twice, actually with Jelly Bean, one of them.
With Jelly Bean?
Yeah, with Jelly Bean and.
Bang Bang. What am I missing here?
And I think wasn't Jennifer? I think Jennifer Holliday was with Jelly Bean too.
I'm sure she was. Yeah. I'm going to look into it. The one person that I know that he may know this is Victor Rosado, who is up on top with all of these things. I mean, I'm getting old, Michael. I have a lot of things that I'm forgetting. I don't know what the hell is going on. Look at all these records behind me. Sometimes I can't even find them, and they're all in alphabetical order. Something is happening here. I don't know what it is. I need to, guess that. Then we have Dr. Rhythm by the MZ Band. Okay, Michael Z Band. Is that?
Yeah, I like that record. I had a deal with Epic, and we put out 3 or 4 records. We did okay with them.
Well, I tell you what. There's so much to talk about, and Michael, I can say enough to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're so wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Can't wait to see you personally, and I'm forever here to give you my respect and admiration. The best to your family, Michael. The best to you, and I will be seeing you soon. Hopefully, when Al Magliano gets up there. So, any last word for the audience from Mr. Michael Zager?
Yes, just to please stay safe, wear a mask, social distance. It's not worth getting sick. And I appreciate everybody who took a look at this, and my my best to you, and I'm honored to have been asked to be on your screen.
Oh, Michael. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. The L.O.V. is the Message Legacy, our chat. And now, please stay tuned because we have, following this show, Victor Rosado will take you on a trip. And stay tuned. Michael and everybody out there, remember, L.O.V. is the message.